Good evening and welcome back, you fools, to the Midnight Mass Preacher Cast. I'm Crypt Keeper James, and I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Bobby Blades. How are we tonight, Mr. Blades?
Doing good. Very good. I forgot what I was going to say, but it must not have been really important because otherwise I wouldn't have forgotten.
I do that sometimes. Sometimes I'd be like, oh man, this would be perfect to say. And then I get into it and I completely forget.
It's like that deer in the headlights kind of thing, you know?
Right. Right. I was in a play one time in high school and I came out and I completely forgot the line. So I just like ad-libbed like 15 minutes and what are you going to do? So it turned out okay. But afterwards I kind of got yelled at and I'm like, hey, what do you want me to do? So
yeah, you're in high school. I mean, it's not like you're a professional actor yet.
Right. No, not at all. Not at that time. Not any time.
Shame on that teacher. Shame, shame, shame.
She was a weirdie, man. She was really weird. But, I mean, it was a fun class. What are you going to do? So.
Well, those drama class teachers are usually pretty flaky.
Yeah. Yeah, her husband used to come in and he always was wearing like an ascot or a scarf. And we lived in Florida. So
I had an art teacher like that. He looked like Bob Ross. He had the afro and everything.
Oh,
and
that'd have been
always
awesome.
wearing turtlenecks with a scarf.
I love that. I love that story. I would have totally. I have zero artistic ability, but I would have loved to have been in the class just for this guy. So that'd have been great. So
he was very flamboyant.
No taken. Nice. All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about one of my favorite movies of all time, They Live, which is just fantastic. It's a sci-fi thriller that came out in 1988, which I was surprised. I actually thought it came out earlier than that for some reason. But
yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, but now it's 88. Has one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, Roddy Piper, starring in it.
Oh, yeah.
I am not a fan of wrestling at all for what it is today, and not really even back then for the most part. But, I mean, you had Hulk Hogan, Jake the Snake, Andre the Giant, Junkyard Dog, and, of course, you know, Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. I just remember he was always the snap into the Slim Jim guy.
Yeah.
So...
Our masters! What do these things want, and why are they here?
You still don't get it, do you, boy?
They have recruited the rich and the powerful!
They're running the whole show.
Wake up! They're all about you, all around you! Blinded us to the truth!
Take a look.
They are safe as long as they are not discovered.
I don't know what they are or where they came from, but we gotta stop them.
Stay away from me!
Put these on.
They have us! Look at them! They're everywhere! Our owners!
We have no other choice.
I don't like this one bit.
Leave it alone, man. It ain't none of my business, ain't none of yours.
We have been lulled into a trance.
Listen to what I'm saying to you.
We're in trouble. The whole world's in trouble.
Control us!
You're sending some kind of signals out of TV sets.
I've got one that can see.
Mama don't like tattletale.
Now we start spilling some blood.
Let's go!
Push a button.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
So yeah, anyway, this...
I thought
No, we did.
one.
Yes,
Okay.
We're good. Yep. This is a John Carpenter movie and is one of the better of his for me. I kind of have a top three, which is The Thing, They Live, and then Big Trouble in Little China. So you can't go wrong with any of those, in my opinion.
No.
So,
I can see that. Although a lot of people, I would say that they crapped on John Carpenter's vampires, but I thought it was quite good, and James Woods was hilarious in that film.
You know, I have a hard time with that one. It's like I want it to be good, but then the ending when his buddy, who I think is a Baldwin, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, keeps letting the girl feed on him, and like he's in love with her, and it's all weird. And I was like, and he's like, well, you know, give us a chance, and like I'm gonna chase you and all. I don't know. It was good, but also kind of off. But I guess but James Woods is one of my more favorite actors. So I always appreciate his work. So,
you usually can't go wrong with a John Carpenter film. I mean, for the most part, they're pretty good.
Most of it is not appreciated in its time. Like The Thing, They Live, were both like crapped on horribly when they first came out. It was like they developed cult followings and stuff like that after the time. So I think that's weird because like for me, The Thing, that scared the hell out of me. Still does. So,
and I think too, since we were kids at that time, we couldn't really have contributed much to, you know, the following of that movie because we were just little kids watching scary movies. You know, it's not as though we really had a voice in the matter in that, you know, we're spending our parents' money going to see these movies or buying them on VHS or something. So
right. I'm pretty sure the most I contributed to these movies really is just renting them on a weekend. I think I saw Big Trouble in Little China in the theater. I'm pretty sure that I did. But The Thing, I was way too young to have seen that. And They Live, I remember watching it on TV because I was like, wow, this is a really trippy movie.
I remember seeing The Thing. Ooh, first time I saw that, my sister's boyfriend at the time, which later became her husband, he brought it over on VHS, and that scared the hell out of me. And likewise with They Live and Big Trouble in Little China, I had seen those on probably HBO first.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that I want to put money on the fact that I went and saw Big Trouble in Little China at the movie theater. But yeah, They Live, I definitely saw on TV first, and then The Thing I know. I think I had seen it on like a Saturday morning creature feature maybe, and I was like, what is this? And then like I actually watched it rented or whatever, and I was just no. I was so scared. And then like it leaves, you know, that the end with that creepy music, and they're pretty much just sitting there, and you're like, wait a minute. This isn't resolved. There was no resolve. And
right.
Even kind of with They Live, it's kind of the same way.
It is. And, you know, as a kid, I didn't notice that. But watching it last night while I was taking my notes, I had come to realize that there were parts that I missed watching it as a kid. And I was like, wow, this is so dreary. There's absolutely zero resolution to this film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just thought that was, I thought that it spoke volumes about like the kind of the position that we're in today, because, you know, all through the movie, there's that theme going of like the television telling you, you know, to consume, to what you need to do or what you need to look like to be this, to get the girl, and, you know, all this stuff. So it's basically like the TV controlling you, and then the people getting the headaches from watching the television when the signal goes all wonky with the hackers and everything.
Yeah.
So it was just like, it was very ahead of its time, I want to say.
Yeah, I agree. I do love the catchphrases that came out of this movie. So that's one of my favorite parts. That character, Nada, however you want to say it, was probably one of the best written characters for the time. I really appreciated what he did. You've got either put on these glasses or start eating this trash can. When the lady's like, it looks like you dipped your face in the cheese dip back in 1957. She's just like, wow. He says, that's like pouring perfume on a pig. And then this one, I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. And what I really like about that one and why it's fun is because 3 years later, when Duke Nukem, the video game, came out, he used that. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of gum. I don't know if you ever played Duke Nukem.
Never played it.
He doesn't have the haircut. He has more of a buzz cut, but he's wearing sunglasses and he's fighting aliens. And it's really funny to me that he said it because it's a very like character. I don't know if there's any correlation between the two, but his in the video game, his little one-liners that he says all the time make me think and reminded me of this character from They Live. So,
yeah.
So what were you gonna say?
Like when you're talking about the line, "I've come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass."
Yeah.
That was actually ad-libbed by Roddy Piper.
Right. Apparently that was something that he was gonna say when he was wrestling. Like
really?
he had written it in a book. Like he had a little notebook, and he shared it, his little book, with John Carpenter, and he loved it. So they added that in. Yeah,
that was cool. He probably had a bunch of those one-liners that he had written, and maybe they threw that in the script.
Yeah, I love that. That's fun. They Live is a fun movie from the jump, and seems kind of silly at first. But then when you get into the meat and potatoes of the story, you find it's really quite scary. I mean, like, really scary. The movie is based off of a 1963 short story called 8 O'Clock in the Morning by Ray Nelson, which, of course, I never read because I don't read books. So I can't lie. So,
you and your books, man. What have you got against books?
It's... It all started from a young age when we used to sit around on the weekend and all I wanted to do was watch cartoons or TV, and everybody would sit around and read books. And I hated it. It was so boring, and it was Florida and it was hot. We didn't have AC, and it's just a sore spot for me. So there you go. That's the psychosis of it.
Okay, I see.
I know. Yeah.
I have to get you to a therapist one of these days.
Yeah, it probably solve a lot of problems in my life with the book situation. So, I did like the characters were rather random in existence instead of being like an already congealed group of people. Like you have the homeless drifter who really doesn't even have a name. The Holly, who is a Cable 54 employee, and initially is kind of taken hostage. That's how she becomes in the part of the movie. And then Frank, who's kind of a construction worker, who's kind of a nice guy. Like he kind of helps Nada out. So, and the majority of the resistance are what we would call like the bottom of the barrel of society. If you notice that, like they're not necessarily like, of course, the elitists and stuff like that. They're more not even average Joe. They're, lower class. I hate to be like ugly of that. But you've got a 3-tier system where you've got like the rich and elite are the ones that are working with the aliens to control us. The middle class are basically the sheep for slaughter. And then you've got the lower class that are like, you guys need to wake up and smell what's going on. So, but I did like that they were still fighting for humanity, which was nice. Even though they were being just crapped on it, and didn't have anything, they still were like trying to do something for us.
Yeah. And it was good to see from the perspective of basically like you said, the lower caste, because these people, they didn't have a home, they were at a homeless encampment and whatnot, and like the leaders of the resistance were gathered together in a church, and they had this like high-tech sunglass making things,
right?
And they're the fake singing so that nobody would hear what they were talking about,
right?
And you're wondering, you're like, where do we get where do they get the funds? But then you listen to one of the guys and he's talking about robbing banks and doing other stuff. And you're like, aha, there we go.
Right.
You know, that's the stuff I never picked up on as a kid.
Yeah, and that's smart because that really sets the stage for saying you have a stark difference between upper and lower. And then you have the middle, who is basically the food, or whatever you want to say, the lambs. And I appreciated that they kind of really kept that theme going throughout the movie. I did like that they used the global warming as a tactic that the aliens are using, which was also used in the movie The Signal as part of what they were doing to prep the planet for takeover and everything like that. I like that even at this point in time, they were talking about global warming, regardless of what side of the stick you are on that. I just like that, you know, it's something that gets brought up politically when people are trying to make a statement of, oh, global warming and everything like that. It seems like it's only important when it's to somebody's agenda. And here the aliens are doing that. I'm like, yeah, see, they're already here. This is already going on.
They're terraforming the planet, and the president is on TV telling you that everything's going to be all right. Just, you know, if you don't wear your sunglasses, you'll be fine. Stay asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. So these aliens, of course, are using media and the rich to control the population. The glasses are cool that they reveal the truth of what is going on with the signs and the spaceships and, of course, the aliens. I do love when Nade is in the store and starts talking shit about the aliens.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
He's so great because he's like, his face, and he's looking at these people and he's just like, oh my gosh. And all the signs are all, you know, conform, you know, submit. And it's just like, it's just outstanding. It was just great writing in the way of being able that there's not necessarily a whole bunch of action per se, but there's a lot of psychological stuff going on. Like,
and it's not so deep that, say, the average non-intellectual person couldn't grasp it. You know, you don't have to dig through many layers, even though there are some layers.
Definitely.
But it's just like, this is what we present to you, and, you know, you can kind of follow along with the story.
Right. And also just being in that situation. I mean, it's even like that with The Thing. I think, you know, just to keep kind of bringing back to that solitude that it would exist in that situation to where you're the only person who's seeing this. You know, you are quite alone. And as far as you know, the majority of the people that were fighting this or whatever, they all got, you know, killed out or taken or whatever. And that would just be a horrible situation to be in. So very lonely.
Yeah. Like the one thing that the contrast between this and The Thing is that Nada has the glasses, so he can kind of tell who's friend or foe. Whereas in The Thing, you weren't able to tell unless you did some series of crazy tests where, you know, the blood thing,
right?
You find out that the creature doesn't like fire, but, you know, that's a little difficult because the creature is not going to stand still for long enough. If it's outed, then it's outed and it's going to devour you.
Right. I did like the recurring messages that the aliens are using to consume, reproduce, and conform. All things I would expect to be said by those that are trying to take over. And in a sense, once again, that is kind of, it's very timely. You know, I mean, what are we doing right here? Oh, we're going to take care of you so you can have kids and have your family. Oh, follow and take your shot. Do this. Make sure you're doing. I mean, there's even media right now. There's just, oh, if you're not doing this, you're not right. So make sure you do this. And of course, consume. You know, it's Thanksgiving. It's Christmas. It's this. You got to get everything. Make sure you're
always something, right? Valentine's Day.
Right.
Make sure you get that perfect gift for the woman you love.
Right.
Or the person in your life that you love, you know?
Yep. Easter's coming, and, you know, and then it's summer. You got to do summer vacation. So make sure you have all this. There's always something that they're pretty much pushing that to consume. And then, of course, you know, well, you're going to grow up, you're going to have kids, you're going to do this. And then the conform one is what really got me, just because of how it, you know, it can apply with what's going on in the world today. Like how media basically leads people around like dogs on leashes. And not to go too far down any rabbit holes, but like seriously, people are like, they see a post on Facebook and they take it to fact before they even know the context. Like if Aunt Sue posted a picture of somebody wearing a shirt that says a certain thing, well then I'm going to share it because I like that, because that's the mindset that I'm in. And then the next thing you know, 250 people have shared it and it's not even a real picture. It's a Photoshop picture. You know,
that is the spread of information in this day and age, though. That's like the good and the bad of it right there.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, how these aliens control the media, so they control the narrative. And what we're seeing now is a lot of division between many different people who would have just kind of come together possibly. And now you're seeing it's like, well, you know, you're not thinking the way I'm thinking, so therefore you must be wrong.
Right.
I don't want to get too in depth about it, but it just, there's a lot of division, and we can see that now, and we can kind of tie that in with the movie as well.
Right. Right. I mean, it's even, I mean, to tie that in with how like the media edits and portrays the information, it's funny just to name the two big ones, you know, between Fox and CNN, they can tell the same exact story. It's told in a totally different way. So it's not too far off a reach to believe that something like this in the movie could happen. I mean, I've seen that. I've literally looked at like a headline on Fox, a headline on CNN. They're the same exact thing, but they're just spun a different way. And I'm like, wow, this movie really grasps this concept of how controlling this is and how the media really sets the tone of what people think. And that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So,
I was, are you familiar with the video game Bayonetta?
No,
Okay.
I am not.
Well, basically this really hot witch chick that she doesn't wear clothes, but her body is covered with her hair, and so like her hair forms a suit for her body, and when she fights, more and more of her suit leaves her body, so she's almost like naked. But that aside, there's one thing at the beginning of the game where it's like, in a world where perception is reality, good and evil, blah blah blah, that's all I could remember. But what I'm thinking of is like what like when John Carpenter created this, I don't know who wrote the script, but I'm thinking that they saw what was going on at that time too, where they're like, you know, there's subliminal messages. They want you to consume. They want you to continue buying things so that the rich get richer and everybody else kind of stays in their lane.
Yeah.
I forgot the original point I was trying to make, but
with Bayonetta.
yeah. There, thank you. But perception being reality for everyone. So when you're watching something, your knee-jerk reaction to it is like, oh, I don't like this. What's going on? But you don't know that things could have been cut out and laid out in such a fashion that it would cause you to react the way they want you to react. So therefore, they're controlling your emotions through like what you're seeing.
Yep. Which is crazy. I mean, it's just crazy. And I appreciate it for what the movie does, because it's not out of the realm of possible or plausible. Like if aliens were to come here and do this kind of stuff, infiltrate the rich, infiltrate the media, and control that way, I don't think that's so far beyond a plausible type thing. If that was to be, I mean, that I'm not saying anything about aliens wise. I'm just saying it's not far fetched, I guess is what I'm saying. So, because I'm pretty sure that the rich people are doing that to us anyway. So, yeah.
All hail our reptoid overlord. Oh, excuse me.
Right. Right. You're not a lizard person. No.
Lizard people? No, they don't exist.
We're gonna get that emergency broadcast interrupting our.
I know, right?
So beyond that point, I did really like the fight between Nada and Frank in the alley.
That was the most hilarious thing I've seen. Their fight, it lasted way too long.
6 minutes.
Yeah.
It's actually been called one of the greatest fight scenes in the movie history. So
Really?
yeah, which
I just thought it took too long. There were a lot of pauses. It was like basically you were watching a WWF wrestling match, but it's on the big screen, you know?
yes, yeah,
There was a lot of breaks in between that where it's like, okay, I kick your ass, I lay on the ground, I get back up and I try to make you wear the sunglasses. So it was just comical to me.
yeah, and I see that same, and it being I guess the thing is just what I did like about it is they got tired. You never see in movies when people are fighting where somebody gets worn. Maybe Lethal Weapon when he's all shot up and he's finally like, yeah, I'm kind of dying now. Even though he's probably the only person I know that gets shot that many times like that and still live. But at least he was down. You know, this same thing. These guys, they got tired. You know, and finally he was like, fine, I'll wear the glasses. After 6 minutes of fighting in the alley, fine. I liked the alien tech that was used weapon wise and overall. The watch was cool that created the portal.
Yeah.
And the fact that they basically using like satellite transmissions to blind people from the truth was pretty cool. Like using certain waves and all that kind of stuff to make reality be bent the way that they wanted it. That was cool.
I thought that was smart too, because you're not thinking of something that people can't grasp. It's something within the realm that exists in like our world today, where they're just they're so advanced that they can kind of tune these waves to make you see what they want you to see. You know, again, like perception being reality there.
Right.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, same. And you don't have to go, I mean, of course, you know, as conspiracy people and all that kind of stuff, we go, oh, we don't. But like, I mean, there's things that we cannot even perceive in our eyes because our optics don't allow us. Like cats and dogs, like other animals have certain vision things and stuff like that. They can see that we can't. So it's not so far beyond to think, well, we could put this here, but put it in a way that your eyes cannot perceive it. That's completely believable.
Yeah.
So,
and you would still absorb that information even though your eyes can't see it, because like maybe some of it kind of gets absorbed into your body, I guess.
right. Well, your brain can see it, but your eyes can't. So the brain stores it, but it doesn't. I mean, they did. What movie did they do that in that got all banned out, that they put subliminal messaging and stuff like that? And they used to, I mean, not just like the let's go to the lobby. I mean, that's obviously, you know, kind of like, you know what, I will go to the lobby. But like where they literally had like images and stuff like that in the movie. I can't remember what it was, but that happened. They did that for real.
Yeah, I know they used to in commercials. They would flash something across the screen for like a fraction of a second and continuously do it throughout the commercial. It was so fast that the naked eye couldn't pick it up. But if you slowed it down, you could actually see where they inserted it into the thing.
Yeah.
And it turns out that like people were, oh, hey, I'm hungry now, because it was like a McDonald's ad or something.
Right.
Don't you want a hamburger? Nice and juicy.
Yeah. So, I mean, advertising in itself, I guess, is kind of subliminal, and we've just become kind of bland to it. But, I mean, the way that they make food look and everything like that, like that's somebody's job to make the hamburger look perfect and everything like that. Like half the time they're not even using real food. They just cook the patty on the outside, and it's not even the bun they really use, and it's like paper and stuff like that. It's really weird the way that they do commercials. I'm like, ew, this isn't right.
Yeah, it looks so delicious on the screen, and then when you actually get there, it's like garbage.
Right. I did like the fact that one of the drifters from the shantytown was at the party and had easily been converted into a collaborator. It also falls into a believability of the story. I mean, how many people would honestly turn down wealth and comfort for a small piece of their soul? I mean,
right.
He was, you know, homeless, living in a homeless shelter, living at the whatever. And in the end, he's promised wealth and riches and great life. And all you got to do is just kind of, you know, look the other way with this, that, and the other. And once he kind of like, well, you know, it's going to happen anyway, so I might as well reap some benefit. That was kind of rough. But
he had an awesome villain mustache.
yes. Yeah.
That was perfect.
The ending had a good twist in it, with Holly turning out to be a human collaborator and killing Frank. I totally did not see that coming from when I was a kid. I remember kind of being like, wait, what's going on? I know she did seem a bit shady the entire movie, in a way.
Calm.
Yeah. But then again, she had been taken hostage at one point by Nada, so, you know.
Well, that's what I mean. She was way too calm when she was taken hostage. You think, like, unless she had been in a situation like that before, it's like, and she knows what to do, how all of a sudden is she like very submissive and calm and calculating? And, she throws him out the window. It was just like, I knew something was fishy, but I still didn't see it coming. Even after seeing it for the second time, I was like, oh, she's bad. It got me twice.
you sneaky movie. That's nice. Yeah, I really hated that she ended up that way, but again, I get it, but I didn't want her to be bad. I guess you'd say that.
I also hated that Keith David got shot in the head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was like, I wanted to see, like, I was still hoping that those two would make it through the end of the movie, because as I was taking my notes, I'm like, wow, there's some serious plot armor. They go from being all razzle dazzled by wearing the glasses and seeing society for what it truly is. And the next thing you know, they're like two badasses blowing things up and just, killing everybody who's skeleton face.
Right.
And so it's just like, wow, how did they go from that to this? Where was the transition? And then all of a sudden, it's like they're inside the base. And the girl, I forgot her name already, but yeah, her.
Holly?
She puts the gun to his head, and then they cut to the next scene, and, he's nowhere to be found. I was just like, oh man, she killed him. No. So I was really broken up about that.
That's fair. And he was in the thing as well. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And which is actually, like, apparently the part was written for him. So, because he wanted him, he had seen it in the thing, and he was like, yeah. So they actually really wanted him for that part, which is cool. I mean, he's basically, he's in that, the thing, and I think Something About Mary.
Yeah, he's a legend now. I mean, he's the voice of Spawn, or he was the voice of Spawn.
Yeah.
In the animated series, and he's done so many things. I think it was in Community, that sitcom.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the crazy guy in the van.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm sure he played it well.
Oh, he did. He was great. He's a great actor, man. Keith
Yeah.
David is awesome.
I appreciate his work. Holly does get taken out by Nada, and he does destroy the transmitter, but not before he gets murked out himself.
At the cost of his own life.
Yeah, which was nice. Of course, he goes out in style by giving the aliens the middle finger as he dies, which I appreciate. Like, thank you, sir, thank you, Mr. Nada, because to the end you were true to your character. So,
the signal is cut.
Yep.
The aliens are seen for what they truly are, as the world is seen for what it truly is. And I don't know. If they had made a part 2, would it have been like the humans really coming together and building a resistance and like just killing those aliens wherever they could find them?
No, I don't think at all. I mean, you literally hit on the, like I also wondered what was going to happen now that the aliens were exposed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's going to turn out well for the humans at all, because at this point, you're kind of already committed as the aliens. So, I mean, they've clearly got technology a lot better than ours. And can come to our world and all that. So I don't think it's going to turn out well for humans. So,
You have a point. I thought that like maybe the collaborators could be flushed out, but that would just be me using wishful thinking, I guess.
well, I mean, remember the majority of the people that were like the resistance, if you want to say, was a very small band of people in one city. I mean, that's it. The middle class people, if you want to say, the food, were completely blind to it, and the rich were in bed with them. Literally, as we saw at the end of the movie. The lady that was having sex with the alien.
Oh God!
So at the end, so that was a freaky ending. Nice. So I, as a kid, actually kind of felt bad for any humans that had gone through that little portal thing and whisked away to the other planet or whatever, and were now stuck. I was like, oh, that would suck. So, because I don't know what you're going to be doing, but you're not coming back here. So,
Yeah, I didn't get worried about that because I thought they had, networks of portals set up pretty much all over the globe, not just like in that one city. So I wasn't really thinking too much about that.
So, yeah. So is that just so that they just destroy the local, or did they destroy it for the world?
Yeah, that's what I don't get because from what I saw, well, maybe no, I don't know because I don't know anything about like physics and the way that things work, like radio waves and TV waves or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how could one little satellite dish control the perception of the entire planet? I think it would be limited to a small area unless they're bouncing it off, dozens of other satellites in every part of the world, which is entirely possible.
And you break one link in the chain and it takes down the whole net.
Yeah, kind of like Independence Day where, they blow up the mothership and the entire network goes down.
Yeah. I'm going to hope for that because just saying that it was just the one part of the city, that's even more depressing. Again, this is one of those movies, I mean, which is Carpenter is kind of famous for, where it's kind of leaving you with that empty feeling at the end where you didn't get the hero save the day, where you're like, oh, of course he made the final shot. Of course he killed the alien. Of course we won. Nobody wins. It's not really a win.
Yeah, that's not a win. That's just, it's like a wake-up call, I guess.
Right. But you're not, I mean, what are you going to do? I don't know. I mean, if you were literally sitting there and you look over and somebody's got a skull face, I don't know what to do. Do I take you out? Do I run?
Run? Yeah, my first thing would be run, especially if I don't have any weapons on me and there's like some zombie looking thing.
Yeah. Right.
It's time to beat feet.
Yeah, I mean, I thought overall, just a good movie. I enjoyed it again. It's something I can watch again and again. If it's on, I watch it. I like the theme of it. I like what it's saying. I like that I can apply it to life, so it's freaky. It's a freaky movie.
It really is.
So, go ahead.
It's one of those movies that you can be mindless about it, but also it makes you think at the same time.
Right.
So, yeah, it's definitely a good movie. I mean, it's one of the classics, and I'm surprised it wasn't bigger, like when you brought that up, because I thought it would have been like a big hit.
Yeah, no. And with that, was saying with like layers wise, like it's almost like The Matrix, the movie The Matrix, in the original. No sequels, just the original. When you can watch that movie and just be numb about it, and it's a good movie. But if you like really start trying to apply it and give meaning to things and stuff like that, like you can go like 6 pages deep in Reddit with that.
Oh shit, yeah.
And this
Think
is
about
this, and this is all religion, and this is and it's like, whoa! I never even I was just watching a movie because it was good, you know. And this is kind of along those same lines where it's kind of laying it out there for you, like you said. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to watch it. He puts on the glasses, you see what he's doing. They're farming us. But then when you really play it, you're like, oh, wow. Wow. So, anyway, that is my take on that movie.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to mine. Although there was one portion. Now, I got to get your opinion on what you thought about this. But that communications device that the soldiers were using, did it give you any Ghostbusters vibes?
Yes. I like that. Yes. I can completely relate where you're coming from on that. So yes. Good job.
Very second I saw that thing, I just pictured Egon with it. And those little lights going up, and yep, there's a ghost here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's fun. I didn't even think about it like that. Oh man, that's cool. You want to talk about some trivia with it?
Yeah, let's get into some trivia.
So, I like right off the jump. I really enjoyed this. That Carpenter brought real, quote unquote, homeless folks into the production for several scenes and smaller characters, and gave them food as well as paychecks. Piper was quoted as saying that he thought that was a pretty classy thing to do. So that's pretty cool. Apparently, Robin Williams did that a lot as well on his movies. He always made the producer or the what do you call it? Not the director or somebody like hire at least 1 or 2 homeless people during the duration of the shooting that were local there to take care of them and give them jobs during the time and everything like that. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. And I thought that it was cool that they did that for here. You know, even though you're hiring, you know, homeless people to play homeless people, that's kind of whatever. But at the same time, food and paychecks, which is pretty cool. So
definitely. And here's the big fight sequence was designed, rehearsed, and choreographed in the backyard of John Carpenter's production office. The fight between Nada and Frank was only supposed to last 20 seconds, but Piper and David decided to fight it out for real, only faking the hits to the face and the groin. They rehearsed the fight for 3 weeks. Carpenter was so impressed that he kept the scene intact, which runs 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
That is absolute madness.
No, I was going to say, at one point, I looked at the back of Keith David's head, and there was a big freaking welt there with, you know, blood coming out. I'm like, that looks way too real for, you know, for makeup, for hair and makeup to be doing something like that. And so it's just like hits to the face and the groin, fake. But like everywhere else, anything goes. They're just punching each other. And that's why it looks so real. Because when Roddy Piper was like punching the cops and everything, and then even the cops beating the homeless people,
right?
You could see they were just stopping their hands, and the people were moving their heads. And I was like, oh, that looks so fake. But when it's between these two, it looked like they were kicking the shit out of each other.
Right. Right. So, I mean, good job by them for committing to the act.
Yeah, that's going full Method Man right there.
Right. Right. I like this. The Roddy Piper, being a married man at the time of filming, refused to take his wedding band off. And that's why in several scenes you can see a wedding band on his finger.
So. You know, I noticed that, but I didn't know that he was married at the time. And I was thinking that, maybe the character came from a family, like something tragic happened to his family. So he just kept wearing the wedding ring, you know, just as like to honor the memory of something.
Right. Right.
It has nothing to do with that.
No. Nothing. So.
Piper's character never gives his name, nor is he referred to any name throughout the entire movie. He is simply listed as Nada in the credits, which means nothing in Spanish and Portuguese. The name almost certainly references the character George Nada in Ray Faraday Nelson's short story 8 o'clock in the morning, from which the film was adapted.
Very cool. Very cool. And of course, the communicators used by the guards near the end is also the PKE meter used in Ghostbusters.
Ah! A little Easter egg.
Yes. So you were dead on with that one. I love it. Oh, man, that's fun. So,
After Nana kills several ghouls and exits into a side street, he comes face to face with a human cop whom he disarms and tells to leave. The actual phrase he uses is beat your feet, but according to Piper, the actor apparently misinterpreted on the first take and began running in place.
I would have lost
love
it.
to have seen that blooper reel.
Oh, that's fun.
Beat your feet, and he, this guy's just dancing in place there.
You just say, "What are you doing, bro? What are you you doing a little dance for me?" Oh man, that's so this film did open at number 1 at the box office. So, I mean, apparently John Carpenter was pretty fascinated by that, but it didn't do great. So, I guess it just wasn't not appreciated for its time.
Yeah, maybe everybody was into 2 years before the 90s began, so
yeah.
Thinking about that.
And then, the whole Roddy Piper thing, and people might have been, oh, why do I want to go watch this? I don't know. That's weird, because it seems like that's conflicting information. I don't know. That's weird. Yeah. Let's see.
Does it depend on how long it stays in the theaters? Like how much money it pulls in during the first week or first month or something like that?
It does, but so it had a budget of $4 million, and in the opening weekend, U.S. Canada, it grossed 4.8. So, I mean, it beat out its budget. It ended up grossing 13 million. So that's double. That's damn near triple its budget. So I don't know why. I don't know. It said that it was not as it's more of a cult following than appreciated at its time. That being said, maybe there just wasn't a lot else that was released at the same time, which happens. There's a lot of movies that end up being the number 1 movie in America right now, and it's just because there's no other movies out at the time that are worth a damn.
Right, so, that's the only reason they became number 1.
Right.
And once again, it's media dictating what is popular, what's number 1. It's not the people who are voicing that. It's the commercials that are saying the number 1 movie in America.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't believe that. I bet it did great. And just from what you said, I'm thinking if it made back its budget and then some, then yeah, that's good.
So here's some other movies that were released at the same time around that time, but I can't say it was at the exact same time because I just have a hard time with some of these. So Beetlejuice. I can't see this beating out Beetlejuice. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, meh. I could see this beating that out. I mean, honestly, how many times can you kill the same guy? Child's Play. Die Hard.
Oh, yeah, Die Hard. That's a difficult one because that was big, super big. It still is.
Right. So,
but Child's Play, that was kind of a niche thing.
Yeah. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah, that's got me thinking. I don't know.
Heathers, which that movie kind of came and went at theater and was more of a rental movie.
Yeah,
with one.
that's definitely a culty movie too.
Yeah. And then A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. So
Also niche.
those are four. I mean, Coming to America, Big, Willow.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. But those three things you named right there, I don't think They Live would have beat out Coming to America, especially with Eddie Murphy being as big as he was.
At the time, right.
Yeah.
So
That's
clearly, at the time that They Live came out, these movies were either had been out for a while or weren't out yet. I just can't see Die Hard getting beat out by They Live. Not that it's not a good movie, but I just can't see that happening. I can't see even, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, that's a go-to. Part 3 was gangster. You had part 1, part 2 was really weird, but
And
part
Dream
3 brought it
Warriors.
back.
Dream Warriors cleared the whole board, man. It was just
Right.
the one-liners, Freddie having developing a personality. I mean, part 2 was basically, nothing compared to that. Part 1 was the introduction. Part 2, it was just, oh, I'm evil. I'm going to chase you down in your dreams. But part 3, now, I think that's when it really came into its own.
Yeah. Part 2 is where he was taking the kid over. Like he was becoming real. And he was killing through the kid. It was really weird. Part 2 is its own 3-part series of a podcast, to tell you the truth. Because you got to really break that. That movie's weird. But then when part 3 came out, you're right. It actually had where you had the different characters. They died different ways. They were controlling their dreams. And it set the stage for the next set of movies.
Yep.
Where you had the kid ended up being the wizard and or the kid that was a cartoon, like the girl that turned into a roach. Everybody had something good. That wasn't Dream Warrior, I know, but I'm saying Dream Warrior set the stage for that to happen. But it still brought back Nancy, who was absent in part 2, to kind of reprise that role in part 3. So, not to get too far off the page here with it, but yeah, I can't imagine that anybody would have gone for something like this over something that you knew was going to be, oh man, it's Freddy, he's back and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah. Unless they scheduled it to come out either before or after those other movies, you know how like Marvel does their things. They won't put they got their lineup and they make sure that doesn't coincide with the release of another big motion picture. So that way, they can judge just how many people are going to the theaters or watching this, or how many people are streaming it on their devices.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I'm assuming they did the same thing back then.
Yeah, exactly. You know that's the case. There's no way they were putting this stuff out at the same time. So anyway, I'm trying to think of a real just dud that came out and just like nothing else was at the same time, and you're just like, well, I guess we can go watch this. And it was just like the worst movie ever, and you're just like, oh, I would have rather just stayed home and slept.
Okay. What year was Night of the Comet?
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you, sir? That is an American treasure. It was 1984, by the way.
That's apple pie right there.
That is, you got apple pie, you got Jimmy Dean sausage, and now you got Night of the Comet. And those are the 3 American things, sir. How dare you? I'm writing a letter to this podcast. Oh, no. Sue. Ooh. That is, you know what? I watched it again recently, and it wasn't that good of a movie. I don't want to lie. So.
It was probably, I haven't watched it in many decades, so I'll have to check it out again. But it was probably, like pretty similar to the way I felt about Invaders from Mars for the most part.
You can't keep talking bad about that movie.
Hey, I'm not taking a total crap on it. I'm just saying, certain things in there just didn't add up for me.
Yeah. The line, "Life's a bitch and she's back in heat," is Randy the Macho Man Savage's favorite line in the film.
There were so many ridiculous one-liners,
Right.
especially in the 80s.
And I really think that's what helped me. Again, Duke Nukem being one of the first ones that you actually could do like online play, like against other people and stuff like that. You had Mr. Bandwidth that would come up and put everybody in rooms and everything. It was like, it was like a jazzed up Doom. And this guy is, if you ever just listen to some of the one-liners that Duke Nukem said, it's literally the same exact voice and characteristics as Nada in this movie. So I think that made that game even better for me, because I was like, oh yes, this is fantastic.
Oh, sweet.
So,
Hey, keep it in line with what we were talking about, how the theaters line things up. This was originally scheduled for October 21st, 1988. It was moved to November 4th to avoid competition with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
there you go.
Interestingly enough, John Carpenter had been producer and co-writer of the first 3 Halloween films, but Halloween 4 was the first in the series that was made entirely without his involvement. Another reason to move the release was to capitalize on the November 8th presidential election in tandem with the film's social commentary.
Oh, I like it. I like it. That's epic. That's
some smart marketing right there.
in 1988. Was that Bush?
Oh man, you're asking me to go back in time. I can't remember.
It was Reagan.
Might have been. It was probably the first Bush, right?
It was still
First
Reagan
Bush.
at that time.
Oh, it was Reagan. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, his second term expired at noon on January 20th, 1989. So who took over for him then?
It had to have been the first Bush.
I think so. Oh God.
Boy, we would if we were trying to
Yes, it was.
be immigrants and come into the country and we had to take tests, we would fail miserably.
Oh yeah, man, they got to learn all that stuff.
Who was the president in 1980? Oh shit!
I don't know, Richard
Maybe
Nixon.
Americans?
That's my go-to. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be Nixon or Clinton. One of those two is.
I am not a crook.
Yeah. One of the best scenes ever in Airplane 2, when she's sitting there talking to him about lying and all that kind of stuff, and they flashed all the passengers. They all got Richard Nixon masks on. So
That's another
stupid.
movie I haven't seen in so long.
Oh my God, it's so bad. And they don't even try. Like in the first one, they kind of they tried to stick with where it was something. In part 2, they're just like, we're just going to be off the wall, just ridiculous, which is fun for me because I just sit there and laugh like a fool. My wife just leaves the room. She doesn't even, she has no time for it. I mean, come on, this is funny. She says, no, it's not. It's really stupid. I'm like, whatever.
That ridiculous on the nose comedy is like some of the best, and Leslie Nielsen is like one of the best to have ever done that.
Yes, for sure. For sure. His Eternal Flame is really cool. It's like Pull My Finger or whatever. It says something like that. Like at his tombstone, he's got an eternal flame that's like a bud or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I didn't know what you meant at first. I was like, eternal flame. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. At his grave, he has an eternal flame, and it's something of says something like Pull My Finger or something like that. Yeah. It's really fun.
It probably would be something like that because he was just that kind of guy.
Yep. And I appreciate that about him. So, all right. You have anything else this evening, sir?
Oh, I think that's going to about do it for this.
All right. I do think that does about wrap it up then for this episode of the Midnight Mass Creature Cast. I personally want to thank each and every one of you for checking the show out. I hope that we're entertaining. I could be more like Maximus from Gladiator and be like, are you entertained? Are you not entertained? That's what he says. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's, yeah.
I'm very familiar with that.
Nice. We've got some really good stuff coming up in the next few weeks. I hope you'll continue to come back, check us out. Mr. Blades, I believe you have some info you would like to share with us.
Yes, I do. As always, you can check us out on the Facebook page. Just go to Facebook and look up Midnight Mass Creature Cast. Leave your thoughts on the show there. If you've got a movie you want us to check out, it definitely has to be like a monster movie or something with creatures in it from the 80s or the 90s. That is our only criteria. Just go to mmccpod@gmail.com. And I think that's about does it.
Epic. Yeah, definitely hit us up, man. Let us know how it's going and what you like. And I would love to do fan picks. That is all right with me. So anyway, all right.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be cool to like, even if they like people sent in questions. Like I wouldn't even mind that. Like, hey, you guys said this or that or other. Like even if it's not a movie we're doing, like a fan question. That would be fun. So
yeah, that'd be cool. Because as we're known to do so far since we've been on this journey, it's like we kind of divert off the path a little bit and go into several other movies, drawing comparisons and parallels.
Right.
So if we're wrong, please correct us. But yeah, that would be cool to have some fan interaction, most definitely.
For sure. So, all right. With that said, we will close this one out. Say thanks again, all you ghouls, for tuning in, and we will see you next time.